Hi everyone. I hope you're all doing well, and I truly wish goodness and health for every viewer. Today's topic is about something fascinating, how humans have communicated with machines over time, from the heavy clacking of typewriters to the gentle taps on today's touchscreens. This journey is more than just about technology. It is a story of creativity, patience, and the desire to make human expression faster and easier. The typewriter, one of the earliest practical input devices, wasn't invented overnight. Attempts to create mechanical writing machines can be traced back as early as the 16th century. An Italian inventor named Pellegrino Turri built a writing device around 1808, mainly to help a blind countess write letters. While many prototypes appeared, the breakthrough came in the 1860s when Christopher Latham Scholes, together with Carlos Glidden and Samuel Soule, developed what became the first commercially successful typewriter. This machine introduced the QWERTY keyboard layout. Still the standard on most keyboards today, the typewriter's arrival changed work culture. Offices became faster in producing documents. It also influenced gender roles, as many women entered the workforce as typists, making clerical work more professionalized and accessible. But early typewriters had quirks. Keys could jam if pressed too quickly. Ink ribbons needed constant replacement. Even so, the rhythm of typewriter sounds became a symbol of modern productivity in the 19th and early 20th centuries. Beyond offices, typewriters played roles in journalism, government records, and even literature. Famous authors like Mark Twain were among the first to submit typed manuscripts. This helped standardize publishing and reduce errors in printing. Before we move to our today, I want to say that this channel is user-friendly. No offensive content, no misinformation. We explain things with respect, curiosity, and authenticity. The typewriter was only the beginning. It laid the foundation for every input device we know today. From keyboards to computer terminals, the path forward was being written, literally, with each keystroke. As typewriters grew common in offices, new inventions appeared that pushed input devices further. One of the most important steps was the telegraph in the 19th century. Though not a typewriter, it taught people that machines could carry human language through dots and dashes of Morse code. This concept of encoding words into signals inspired later input technologies. By the early 20th century, a clever machine called the teleprinter emerged. Also known as the teletype, it combined the typewriter with telegraph lines. When someone pressed a key on one end, the machine reproduced the same letter miles away. Governments, banks, and news agencies adopted it widely to transmit official data. This was the first time input devices were tied directly to communication networks. Meanwhile, the rise of early computing brought another revolution: punch cards. Invented by Herman Hollerith in the 1890s. For processing U.S. Census data, these stiff cards with holes encoded instructions and information. By feeding stacks of cards into machines, businesses could sort and calculate far faster than before. Punch cards became the standard input method for early computers well into the 1950s and 1960s. Every hole punched represented a decision, a digit or a letter. Punch cards may seem primitive now, but they proved that human instructions could be translated into mechanical logic. This was the first bridge between human typing and true digital computing. At the same time, keyboards evolved beyond typewriters. The teletype keyboard, for example, looked similar to typewriters but connected directly to machines. These were used to send commands to mainframe computers, making programming and data entry more interactive. By mid-20th century, offices often had both typewriters for documents and teletypes for communication with machines or networks. The soundscape of clattering keys, the steady feeding of punch cards, and the clicking of teleprinters defined the age of early mechanical computing. Writers and operators had to be precise. A single mistyped hole in a punch card could crash an entire calculation. Accuracy was no longer just about spelling. It was about logic itself. This era shaped the discipline of computing. From census data to military codes, The tools of input expanded human ability to interact with machines in powerful new ways. By the second half of the 20th century, input devices began looking closer to what we use today. The computer keyboard took shape as a direct descendant of the typewriter. When computers replaced punch cards with interactive terminals, the keyboard became the main tool for giving instructions. The familiar QWERTY layout survived, showing how powerful habits can be. These keyboards were wired directly to mainframes and early personal computers. Every keystroke became a signal, instantly read by the system. For programmers, this was liberating. They no longer needed endless stacks of punch cards. Instead, they could write, test, and correct code directly on screen. But typing was not enough. Researchers wanted a way to interact with visual displays. That is where a new invention appeared, the computer mouse. In 1964, Douglas Engelbart and his team at Stanford built the first mouse prototype. It was a wooden block with two perpendicular wheels. When moved on a surface, it translated hand motion into cursor movement. Engelbart demonstrated it in 1968 during his famous mother of all demos, showing not only the mouse, but also hypertext video conferencing and graphical interfaces, concepts far ahead of their time. At first, the mouse seemed unnecessary. Most computers still relied on text commands, but as graphical user interfaces developed in the 1970s and 1980s, the mouse became essential. Companies like Xerox and later Apple and Microsoft adopted it for personal computing. Clicking icons and dragging files suddenly made computing more intuitive. The keyboard and mouse together formed a partnership that shaped decades of digital interaction, one for precise text, the other for navigation. This balance mirrored how humans use hands in daily life, writing with one, pointing with the other. Alongside these, other experimental devices appeared. Light pens let users draw directly on screens. Graphic tablets offered designers more freedom than a mouse. Though niche, they showed the constant desire to bring natural human gestures into computing. By the 1980s, the shift was clear. Machines were no longer mysterious boxes, requiring coded cards or telegraph wires. They were becoming personal tools, accessible through familiar gestures, typing, clicking, and pointing. This was the stage where modern computing culture truly began, laying the groundwork for the next leap. The touch and voice-driven systems we know today, as computers spread into homes and pockets, a new kind of input emerged, the touchscreen. While early experiments with touch technology date back to the 1960s, the first practical resistive touchscreens appeared in the 1970s. These could sense pressure from a finger or stylus. Hospitals, industrial machines, and even ATMs began adopting them. But it was not until the 2000s that touchscreens became everyday tools. Capacitive touch, able to detect the electrical charge of human skin, brought speed and precision. Devices like the iPhone in 2007 redefined how people interacted with technology. Instead of keys or cursors, our own hands became the interface. Swiping, pinching, and tapping made complex actions feel natural. At the same time, voice input rose in importance. Systems like Dragon Naturally Speaking in the 1990s showed that spoken language could control computers. Later, assistants like Siri, Alexa, and Google Voice turned speech into a daily input method. This was not only convenient, but also empowering for people who could not use traditional keyboards or mice. Modern devices now blend many inputs together. Keyboards remain vital for work. The mouse still rules design and gaming. Touchscreens dominate mobile life, and voice is rising for hands-free interaction. There are even eye-tracking systems that allow movement of a cursor with nothing but a glance. Gesture control, augmented reality headsets, and brain-computer interface research show that the story of input is far from finished. Each step reflects the same human dream: to make communication with machines as effortless as thought itself. From the clack of typewriters, to the hum of punch cards, to the smooth glass of touchscreens, the evolution of input devices is the evolution of human creativity. Every click, swipe, or tap is part of a centuries-long conversation between people and their inventions. All the information we provide comes from verified historical sources, including books, records, and archaeology. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Thrones of Knowledge, and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified on time. Suggest our next topic in the comments to help make our journey even better.